Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another live broadcast of Ask an Engineer. We're here at the Adafruit factory, in a factory, a real live factory, not a fake prop factory, where we do all the manufacturing and shipping and design fulfillment of Adafruit stuff. And I'm Lady Ada, and I'm the engineer of all that stuff. And this is Phil, and he does all the camera control and everything else in this stuff. And we've got an exciting show for you tonight. And I'm wearing my particle shirt, so it's a theme. Tell them about today's theme and today's show.
All right, on today's show, the Codes Particle, we'll talk about that and more as the show gets going. We had a full house for show and tell, the biggest and longest running show and tell online. I'm just going to say it. Pack the mailbags in and stop by. We're going to read some letters that you have sent to us. Adafruit Jobs Board, and a special video about the Adafruit Jobs Board. Time travel, we'll look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, and engineers. Wearables, special video. 3D printing, another video. Raspberry Pi, another video. New products, we got a bunch. We'll answer your questions. We have a top secret, that's right, a trivia question, and all that and more on Ask an Engineer.
An exciting show.
Yeah.
The most exciting.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. Okay, first up.
Yeah, if you ever want to know what the code is, just look at my shirt.
Yeah, the code is particle. You can also go to our news section on adafruit.com/particle and see the entire particle lineup. We're really happy to have pretty much a complete lineup of particle.
And we're getting more into
in the Adafruit store, and we'll talk about the particle photon and more as the show gets going. So let's first do.
That's that code.
Yeah. That's the code. Let's do some bill paying. Code's particle all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. You get 10% off. And we are 100% supported by you, our customers and community. No sponsors, no advertising. I can't say anything more than this, but a big company is courting us. They want to buy Adafruit. We're going to say no, but it's kind of fun. There's a couple that are there that want to throw some strategic investments, some strategic acquisitions,
business development,
and we're just going to kick it with a discount code, so you can keep us away from having 1,500 bosses. So next up, don't forget the free deals are going on right now. So different tiers as you add stuff to your cart, you get.
$99.
Yeah.
Perma-Proto.
The Trinket.
$150.
Free UPS Ground.
$200.
And then Trinket Pro.
Pro Trinket, $250. And if you spend $250, you get all the stuff before then. So you get the free shipping and the Trinket and the Perma-Proto and the thing. And then if you can combine the discount code, you get 10% off. Wow. You can get so much stuff, and it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So check it out. Your cart will automatically add to the cart when you check out. So.
Okay.
Sweet.
As the holidays approach, a good reminder for folks in New York, we do have same-day delivery. It's working out really good. What's interesting is when I watch the same-day deliveries, I ordered something on Amazon, which did same-day, and then I watched someone's Adafruit order, and they got their Adafruit same-day delivery before I got my Amazon same-day delivery. Not that I was racing. But I was wanting to see who's faster. So we were able to deliver a same day, relatively same distance too.
Cool.
Anyways. All right, here's a reminder. This is Show and Tell. We do this every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we just had the Show and Tell, which is every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. We've been doing Ask an Engineer for 6 years and Show and Tell for 4 years? 5 years?
5
years.
A lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Plenty.
So speaking of, here is the Show and Tell.
I will go over the Show and Tell.
All right. What was on the Show and Tell this week?
Thank you for asking. We started off, we had a full house today. 10 people showed up. Tony DeCola started off. He's been playing with processing the language. It's a graphical programming language that people use on especially Macs, Windows and Linux. And version 3.0 has been released with a binary package for the Raspberry Pi. So using the Pi 2, he tried out processing and he got it working. And it's also kind of neat that it has low-level hardware interfacing as well. So not only does it work with the Pi TFT, so you can have your Pi TFT run your processing sketch, but it can also handle like button input and stuff, and then also drive LEDs or read buttons or potentiometers or whatever, switches. So it's kind of neat. It's cool to see like processing is expanding into the Raspberry Pi world. For people who are a little bit older than the average Scratch user, processing is a great way to learn programming. We have badges for processing and books and stuff in the store as well. Noah and Pedro came by and they made a 3D printed Pi camera enclosure and a 3D printed tripod. So like they've 3D printed everything. And then tomorrow for 3D Thursdays, they have a very interesting Q&A video, which I saw, and I definitely recommend everybody tune in. They share some of their first projects, all the things they've learned, their favorite printer, what they think is the most overrated printer or the underrated printer, like really some pretty intense questions. They lay it out, everything. They lay it out like filament. So check it out, 3D Thursday at 3 p.m. We also had Andrew come by. He's been playing with JavaScript on the Arduino. It's a JavaScript microcontroller. And he ported our LED matrix code to it. He ported to JavaScript. So he's doing a talk about JavaScript and other things, and he wants to add ESP8266 wireless to the Arduino and, I don't know, like play JavaScript on microcontrollers. Like, I've been to events where people like tell me how C++ is too high level. You know, you should really like go down to the bare metal and like do assembly. So like JavaScript just like blows your mind because it's so high level. But
you stop going to conferences.
Well, we don't go to conferences that much. I'm saying this is when I...
Is that why you stopped going?
Yeah, pretty much. The people who are like, you should only write VHDL code.
Oh, the well actually guy.
Cool. The well actually.
I know that guy.
Yeah, they have stories. There's actually the guy who was CPLD. He's like, you should really just teach people CPLD. And I'm like, look, it's not the 60s anymore. Okay, sorry, where was I? We were talking about JavaScript. Anyways, it's great. Check out this video for JavaScript Arduino stuff, and check out his talk. Alec showed off his first project. It's a trinket that is his first project with electronics trinket that he put inside of a lighthouse sculpture that when the light goes off, the lighthouse blinks out the LED every 5 seconds, just like a normal lighthouse, and it's very beautiful and a lovely sculpture. So it's a great first project. He says he has another idea for a second project, but he's not going to tell us what it is. He's going to come by and show it. Seth is building a humanoid robot with two 16-channel servo drivers for Arduino, an ADXL, triple X accelerometer. Is going to be 24 degrees of freedom. And what's cool about Seth's project is most people say like humanoid robot and they mean something this big. And somebody on the show did have one. But his humanoid robot is 3 feet tall. I mean, this is a humanoid robot. Like, it's like it's coming at you. It's a human. So he'll have a friend. He's going to work on this project, laser cut, box fit pieces. It's pretty intense. And we also had Michael Chen, who came by with a fully 3D printed humanoid robot tube, which was like kind of the 1 foot, 18-inch tall version. He says this is 3rd generation. He has pretty hardcore servos. He showed it dances, it can kind of walk, it can lift itself up off of the floor. And he worked with his brother on it. He says it took 3 weeks solid just to print all the pieces. It's a beautiful 3D printed robot, and he uses a Bluefruit inside of it to do the EZ-Link to do the programming, so you can program it wirelessly. It's good that it works. Richard A. came in with an internet cloud, and we're not talking about like hosted software as a service. He actually built a cloud, like it's a cloud-shaped thing, and it has an Adafruit Huzzah and a sound effects board, and it's connected to the internet. It's connected to the Adafruit IO in the cloud, and what he can do is with if this and that, he can control it so the cloud lights up like blue and has raining sounds, or it like flashes white and it has thunder sounds, or it can be like a peaceful white color, and it has these birds chirping. It's kind of a cool project.
It's like cloud.
It's a cloud. So you think of a good name for it other than cloud. But he built a cloud, and he says he has a friend who commissioned him to make a big one as well. Aiden came in, and he's been working on soft robots for quite a few months now, and he's showing off his first prototype of a walking soft robot. So this little crawler robot. It's a little mini thing. It just crawls, but only uses one actuator, which he thought was very interesting. He managed to make something that would basically crawl along, even though it only has one air pipe control, rather than like usually there's like 2 or 3 to move each leg. So everyone's working on walking robots. They're coming to get us. And then C. Scott came in and showed off the power supply that doesn't suck. He's testing it out. Does it suck? Does it not suck? We don't know yet. Probably doesn't, but he's going to verify to make sure. And he's working on the Croby-X, and he's got 5 modules working on his modular project, and he's working on one every while. He's switching them off so he doesn't get bored of them. And that was the show and tell.
Okay, all participants on the show and tell get an As Seen on the Show and Tell sticker. If you were on the show and tell, email support@adafruit.com, and we will send you an As Seen on the Show and Tell sticker. Probably one of the biggest collections of people weekly showing their projects in the world.
What's
I
fascinating is
don't
how.
think there's anything like it.
So, and speaking of conferences, we've been to conferences that are like organized, or we've been to like events where they've had like video conferencing, and it never works. And yet, the show and tell, like, pretty much people show up and they show off the project, and it's been working out really great for 4 years. It's kind of awesome. Like all you makers, you're great. Thank you so much for being so great and doing an awesome job. You have your projects ready and you're showing them off, and you get straight to the demo. So we're doing better than any other show and tell for electronics, which there's none.
Okay. To get on the show and tell, all you need to do is go to our Google Plus page, google.com/plus Adafruit, and look for the weekly show and tell post. Post a comment that you're going to be on the show and tell, and then stop back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And in addition to getting an invite, you'll also see the link, and we try multiple ways to get it to you.
Yep, just be there in that thread, refresh it, and wait for the link to pop up. That's definitely the easiest way. Click on it, and Bob's your uncle. Show off your project.
Yeah, okay.
Every week.
All right, next up, Mailbag. This is Packet the Mailbag, and Packet delivers the mail to us every single week. We read these letters to the entire company, so when you send us these nice kudos, everyone at Adafruit, all about 100 of us, hear it in our weekly State of the Fruit meeting, and here is us reading it now for maybe thousands of people. So when you send an email, sometimes it doesn't matter, but sometimes it does, and these do.
These emails count.
And we like them a lot. So this one is from Louis Michel. Thanks, I already liked you guys. Now I am stunned. Thanks for great products and the great tutos. I think it says tutorials. The great spirit. Nice new website. Thank you, Louis. Thank you so much.
What's cool is you can kind of tell when this was written because this is when we did our website redesign.
Yeah,
we have a backlog.
Yeah, so this was an email that was sent April of last year. So it's like a ship in a bottle, a packet in a bottle.
But feel free, always send in your lovely emails. We always appreciate them.
Okay. Next up, this is Adafruit Jobs Board. This is the only jobs board in the world that we know of. It's for makers, hackers, artists, engineers who want to post their skills, and then companies that are looking for cool makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. A lot of the matchmaking that we do is there's people who want to take something like a Metro or an Arduino or a Trinket or
NeoPixel,
and they're a company and they want to do an installation or they want to do a design or they want to do something, and they know that the customers that we have are exactly the right people. And then there's people who have a lot of skills and they're like, oh, here's my skills. I like being a freelancer, contract manufacturer, whatever it is. So this week, this one is the first category, I think I had said. This persons wants a custom DUA board, and it should have a Bluetooth module, a 4-digit SSD, programmable USB. They need 2 ADC inputs and 1 DAC, nothing else for microcontroller, and have my small analog circuit with 3 inputs and 2 outputs, which go to ADC. Eagle, schematic, and board files needed. So they want a cool little design.
Well, the Arduino DUA is open source, so you can start with the DUA, knowing that the DUA works, you get that Eagle file, take out anything you don't want, keep what you want, respin the board. So it's actually it's a good project for someone who knows EagleCAD. Okay, and like many of the parts of the Adafruit site, we have a video that goes along each one. We finally have our Adafruit Jobs Board video. Here it is. Take it away. Let's watch it.
Hey, I'm trying to make my first robot and I need someone to consult with. Do you know where I could hire someone to help me?
Yes, actually. The Adafruit community is full of skilled designers, makers, programmers, artists, and engineers. That's why we created the Adafruit Jobs Board.
What's the Adafruit Jobs Board?
It's a free service that helps connect companies and individuals like you with the talented Adafruit community. It's both for companies and people who want to hire, as well as for makers to post their skills to get hired.
But how do I use it?
To use the Jobs Board, simply sign into your Adafruit account. For help creating an account, watch this video. We'll be here for you when you get back. Once you're signed in, click on Jobs at the bottom of the Adafruit page. This will direct you to the Jobs Board. You can search by featured jobs, most recent jobs, most applied jobs, all listings, or search by category by clicking on the category you want. You can narrow the list down by clicking full-time, part-time, contract work, or skills offered. To reply to a job or skill offered, simply click on the job title. There you can also read more about the job or skills offered. Some posts list directions on how to apply in the description, and others allow you to apply or contact the individual via our site by clicking the Apply Now button. Once you've clicked the Apply Now button, type your name, email address, message of intention, and attach your resume if you are applying for a job. Then just click Send My Application. To make your own job post or list your own skills, simply click on Post a New Job or Post Skills Offered. Here you can select whether you are offering full-time, part-time, contract work, or offering your skills. You must also select the category which your post best fits under. Select your location and write a description of what you are offering or looking for. Then type your name, website if available, and email address. Check the small box if you want to use the site's application form. If you would prefer to be contacted another way, uncheck the box and list the instructions on how to reply in the description box. Once everything is filled out, click on Step 2, Verify Ad. This will bring you to Step 3, where you can review your post. You can edit if necessary, or if it's ready to go, just click Publish this ad. You will be sent an email to verify it is you, and a second email to notify you when it's been published. The Adafruit team approves each job. There aren't any scams or spam, and Adafruit does not allow recruiters to use the jobs board. That's it. Does that help explain it?
It's wonderful. Little Jay, did you hear that? There's a lot of people that can help us with our electronics projects.
Oh, is that the robot you're working on?
Where are my manners? This is little Jay. LJ, you're gonna be a real robot soon.
Well, you've come to the right place for help with that. Good luck searching our talented community. And don't forget to subscribe for more customer support videos at Adafruit.
All right, thanks, Jonathan and Jesse May.
All right, so next up, some open source hardware news. We're an open source hardware company, so here's some news in our world. We just posted up our Adafruit holiday shipping guidelines, deadlines, and this is really important. Pretty soon, all the gift guides, sales, all sorts of things are happening, and we get asked this a lot. So we have one spot on the site, and big ones to make sure that you're aware of. The big ones, if you want to hit deadlines in the US, things are all around like December 14th-ish, December 11th, depending on the method of shipment. If it's UPS ground, you'll want to do December 11th.
Yeah, you want to give yourself extra time
Yeah.
because everybody else is shipping stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's also the season for snowstorms and ice storms and closing and weather cancellations. So don't, just because it's overnight and we ship same day doesn't mean it will actually arrive the next day. Give yourself 2 or 3 days. Like don't make it on the wire, whatever it is, like the last second.
So we have all the details for first class and international and Express Mail International and UPS International. Do look at those dates. Okay. Next up, Adafruit Learning System. We're up to getting close to 1,000. We're not quite there yet.
874-ish.
Yeah, 874-ish. Okay.
Yeah.
Lady, what are the guides this week?
Okay, well, we had this project from Lon. It's a Halloween-themed one. He built it at last minute for Halloween, so maybe it's good for next Halloween. It's a Adafruit Metro, it's Arduino compatible, plus a 16 NeoPixel ring, a 9-volt adapter, and he just shows how to program in some code that makes it do this kind of cool red, orange, yellow flicker, makes it look like there's a fire or flame inside of your jack-o'-lantern, but it's much safer than actually getting a candle.
Okay. Next up.
Oh, this is a great project from Marc Olivier. He's been doing a lot of really interesting Internet of Things projects, and this project uses Adafruit IO, and it uses either the Fona 808 or the Fona 808 Shield, and that's our cellular plus GPS module. It's an all-in-one module that has both GPS and cellular, which means it's great for cellular tracking projects or geofencing. So geofencing is when basically you say, okay, there's a cyber fence, this coordinates, and if someone leaves outside that coordinate area, I want to receive some sort of message or alert. And so the Fona 808 will send an SMS when someone leaves that area, and also update Adafruit IO, so you can use that to trigger emails or update a website or kind of anything you'd want to do, because Adafruit IO is this gateway to Internet of Things. So this is a really good demo of cellular Internet of Things, and Adafruit IO works really great with it, so it's a good project.
A million years ago, I made a device that it was only supposed to do one thing. When you got it to a movie theater, it would play a movie trailer that was playing in the movie. So it was like opposite of a geofence.
Yeah. It's kind of geocaching, but for
yeah.
It's cool how futuristic that is, but in the end, they just show 18,000 trailers in the movie.
Yeah, at the time it was a good idea. Like, why would you do that?
More trailers.
Yeah. All right, next up.
Okay, next up, this is a great project with an awesome video from Tony DeCola. This is a Raspberry Pi cloud security camera. Also uses Adafruit IO. Adafruit IO actually has the ability to upload images. It can actually show you like a webcam image, so you can view it anywhere in the world. So a lot of people build Raspberry Pi cameras, but then where do you put that video image so you can see it outside of your home, because your home is firewalled? So this shows how to take photos that are motion activated and put them onto Dropbox, and also update them to Adafruit IO, so you can have a record of all motion over time, as well as the most recent photo that you can watch on Adafruit IO live. So this is a great project. It also has a lovely 3D printed enclosure that he modified, and he uses the Pi Noir camera, the no IR camera, with IR LEDs for night vision, so you can see some videos of his cat at night with night vision.
Okay. And last up, this is the 1.75 millimeter filament on the Ultimaker 2. We played the video last week.
Yeah.
This is the full guide for using that filament, which tends to have more exotic flavors on the Ultimaker 2.
The Ultimaker 2, I guess, is designed originally for 3 millimeter, which I think also the printer bot original was also 3 millimeter. But most filaments these days, they're kind of heading towards the 1.75 millimeter as a standard. 3 millimeter is also available, but we're pretty much only carrying 1.75, and we're noticing that all the really cool filaments, like NinjaFlex you can't use it, but the metallized filaments and the magneto filaments and glow-in-the-dark filaments, all that cool stuff is 1.75. So if you have an Ultimaker, it's a great 3D printer. You want to take advantage of all this other filament, check out this guide.
Okay, that's it for this week with learn.adafruit.com. Nimbus of Cloud Entities here.
He's so happy.
Yeah, well, it's a cloud entity. It does, no gender.
Sorry. It's so happy.
It's a cloud entity.
I apologize.
So
I didn't mean to misgender my cloud entity.
Yeah, the cloud entity is here to say Adafruit IO is now through all of the beta, folks. So if you've signed up, you got the invite. And Adafruit.io is what we're calling the Internet of Things for everyone. Scientists, makers,
students,
hackers,
engineers,
teachers. So it's a coming soon, but here's something that someone tweeted today, and I thought this was neat. So
this is cool.
Yeah, so this is from Brad, and Brad said, now I can now turn on my desk lamp from anywhere in the world thanks to Adafruit IO by Adafruit. So it does push and pull. Which
is pretty key. Most services don't do that. There's a lot of data services out there that are totally awesome and excellent, and I strongly recommend you check them out, such as Cosm, Xively, Patchbay, or Fant, data.sparkfun.com, or sensors.com, or all these things. I haven't checked all of them, but most of them only do one direction. You can only store data to them, which is very handy if you're doing data logging.
Yeah.
But what if you want to read data as well as send it? So, for example, you want to read the light level or temperature in your room and then remotely turn on or off a light or a fan or an air conditioner. You can do that because we have an MQTT broker that goes both directions and example code. And it's great. And I just actually wrote more example code last night. I've been testing it, and it's gotten really solid. We have mapping, gauges, just data streams, buttons, slide switches. Again, I showed we have photo, video. You can send bin hex images, JPEGs, and it will render them, so you can upload photos as well. We're adding more and more stuff all the time. It's awesome. We have if this and that interactivity, so you can use if this and that to tie into any other service. Zapier, which is a really hardcore kind of upgrade to if this and that. It's a little more complicated but more powerful. So you can tie into things like Twitter or weather information or stock information or the news or your Google Calendar. Like I have a Google Calendar alert that goes through Zapier and then updates Adafruit IO, and then I have an LED that blinks and tells me like, hey, I have a meeting in 5 minutes. That's something you can do very easily. And once it sounds complicated, once you set it up though, it runs forever. Yeah,
the other thing is we needed to make something relatively quickly, so we had our toilet was leaking in an apartment, and they weren't really fixing it, and we still had to go to work, and it was going on for a course of a week.
And it would happen, and it wouldn't happen.
And it would happen, and it
yeah.
wouldn't happen. So we were able to quickly spin up something that would email us if there was a leak, and it did, and we caught it, and it didn't flood the downstairs, the people who live below. So that was kind of neat. We did a blog post, and the blog post has a bunch of stats. And for the people who like stats, here's what we got going on now. So just with the beta testers, 5 million points of data, 400 points of data created per minute. 90% of the users of the beta have been granted access, 100% by the end of this week.
Yay.
700 feeds online. Client libraries for Node, Python, Ruby, Arduino, ESP8266, phone, and more. MQTT, REST, and API endpoints. A custom-built Arduino MQTT library, which is on GitHub. An API-compatible open-source server. So we have a node that goes along with it. What's next? Well, we're going to be working a bunch to squash bugs and to clean up the interface. At the same time, we'll be updating libraries and then adding support for devices that aren't supported yet.
You know what's cool about Adafruit IO? It's not the first, but like it's going to be the best.
Yeah, sure.
That's how we roll here. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
the beta to take it, you know, people were like, oh, I want to get my invite. And we finally got through them, and I think it's worth it. I think if we had invited everybody, it wouldn't have been as good of an experience. I think everyone had the best experience this way.
Yeah. Yeah, trust us. I mean, like, it's going to work out.
It's going to be okay.
No, it's going to be okay. You know, the oatmeal has a really cool story about someone saying it's going to be okay. And I will leave it at that. You need to go
That's a
and
good
find
story.
it. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I saw that. I can't see what it's about because it's like, you don't want to ruin it.
No, it's all about someone saying it's going to be okay. So,
What's cool about this is that most oatmeal comics are about like guys in changing rooms, but this one is in fart jokes, but this one's actually a really good story.
Yeah. So anyways, check it out. Adafruit comic book posts. Every single week we have a very cool comic book. This week, check it out. It's The War in Eastern Bosnia, and it's by Joe Sacco, and it's from Zay in the shipping department. He wrote it up. It is an excellent graphic novel comic. We don't have anything normal on Adafruit, and so even our comic book reviews, they're pretty heavy ones that have some really big topics. So check it out if you want to digest some of your history or some of your fiction via comic book graphic novel form. This is it. So
and
you
check
can
out the previous ones.
Yeah.
Too. They're always like the best, and the ones that are a little bit more indie than just like the classic DC Marvel universe. But you're gonna be amazed.
Okay.
And delighted.
All right. So next up, time travel. So every week we look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, and engineers. This week is this very special week. This is amazing and also kind of messed up. So 1887, Elisa Leonida Farescu, one of the world's first female engineers, is born. Happy birthday, Elisa. So due to prejudice against women in sciences, Elisa was rejected from the School of Bridges and Roads in Bucharest. In 1909, she was accepted to the Royal Academy of Technology in Berlin, Charlottenburg. She graduated in 1912 with a degree in engineering. It has been claimed that she was the first female engineer, but Irish engineer Alice Perry graduated 4 years before her in 1908. Now, the thing that's a little messed up in my mind is that wasn't so long ago.
That's like 100 years ago.
This wasn't like thousands of years ago. So this is the first time like there's a a degree recognizing the engineering
I can't even
talents.
imagine. I mean, like the best engineers I know are all women, so their loss.
Well, we were born in the 1900s ourselves, so that's why it's a little messed up. Like I remember the 1900s; it wasn't that long ago.
That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't that long.
No, I'm saying this was not that long. 100 years ago in the scheme of things.
I mean, someone's one day going to say Lady Ada was born in the late 1900s, and that's going to sound like, oh my gosh, like that's forever ago. Anyways, progress has been made, but it's messed up when you think about it.
I mean, there were women probably doing engineering, but to be the first one to actually be able to get a formal engineering degree. And it's interesting, she must have had to be really good to fight her way through. You not only have to be a good engineer, but you have to be like relentlessly good.
Yeah. I think it's been crummy for you to deal with a lot of the stuff that goes on in the tech world and the manufacturing world and the engineering world. And it's like 2015. I can only imagine what it was like in like 1898.
Jeez.
This is terrible. It's cool. She was an engineer, but she couldn't vote.
No, I couldn't
So
vote.
couldn't have a credit card until like 1975 on your own.
Because you couldn't actually buy any of the equipment to do engineering.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting. So that's why we do time travel, because it's a reminder of how far we've come.
I like the portrait.
Yeah.
She's wearing she's like Steve Jobs wears a turtleneck in honor of her.
Yeah. So, anyways, on a related note, special thanks and gratitude to the people who have served and sacrificed for our country. Today is Veterans Day. Postal was closed. The rest of the orders and everything went out, but this is the day where it's good to remember the people who have made a sacrifice. It's cool that it's 11/11, and with Veterans Day, it's celebrating peace. It was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of World War I ending, the war of all wars. Turns out there was another war, but at the time, we thought that was it. And the other thing I was reading about with kind of the history of this stuff, do you know that basically George Washington's a 6-star general? That's how they figured it out. So no one can ever be above George Washington.
I thought 4-star was the highest.
No, so he was a 3-star because that's all they could do at the time, and then it got changed around, and then there was another general, and he was made like a 4-star or a 5-star, and then so I think it was Carter who said, or maybe it was Lyndon who said, look, George Washington is he's the general of armies, and they had to give him like another thing.
They made a special one, so nobody can ever.
Yeah, you can just be George Washington, and that's
it.
So unless you're George, so we could, we could maybe get his DNA clone and make another one. He could, but it's complicated.
Sounds like a Michael Bay movie. Then.
Yeah. Anyways, we do free shipping to military bases and all that. So thank you.
And we do that year round too.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. It is appreciated in times of war and in times of peace. Okay, wearables this week. Vicky has an interview from Maker Faire. We're almost through all these.
Check out this dress.
Yeah. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Jing Wen. I'm currently a graduate student from ITP NYU. And I'm a designer, creative technologist, and a maker, and I like all the handcrafts, and that's why I make this dress, and I want to add all the electronics and interactions to the dress. And I'm always interested in the connections between the objects, the physical things, and the internet. So that's why I thought that I can get access to the data, all the information from the internet, and display them on the dress.
Sweet. So can you give me a tour of the hardware inside?
Yeah, sure. So in the front, there's 3 NeoPixel strips, and I use conductive ribbon to connect them from the front to back. And at the back, there's Flora, and I hook the Flora up with Bluefruit LE chip to get the Bluetooth radio work. And also I use a LiPo battery to support all the power. Yeah. Here's the app, and it has several choices. And for example, weather is that you can type in all the cities' names, and it will display the weather of the city. For example, currently Lexington is raining now, but if I change to New York is cloudy, so this is how it looks when it's cloudy. Or ice cream mode is connected to Foursquare API, so it's based on location. When I am close to an ice cream shop, the color changes to strawberry flavor. Or for example, romance mode, this currently is not connected, but it should be connected to another wearable device that can track your heartbeat and use a phone to transmit the data and then send to the dress to display the heartbeat.
That's so cool. So did you write this app yourself?
Yes, I write this app myself. I use a library called Cordova that can, so actually I write it as a website, and then Cordova will pack this website into an app for iOS or Android. I'm just started thinking about my thesis, and I'm thinking about all the connected wearable devices that can tracking my personal data and then visualize or send them to my phone, or in an opposite way is that let the data from the out space or the environment to affect my garment.
Super cool. Really nice to meet you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the fair.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Okay, and don't forget every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, it's Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. Today, Jessica was on the show, and I think next week is Colin. That is the longest-running wearable electronics show online every week on Wednesdays.
Wearables.
Yeah. Okay.
You love them.
3D printing. This week's 3D printing video is YouTube question and answers that Noah and Pedro did. So I'm going to let them take it away.
Coming up, it's Q&A time.
That's right, we're going to be looking at the hashtag 3D printing on YouTube.
What's up, everybody? Noah and Pedro here with the Q&A. We're doing something a little bit different. So shout out to Angus from Maker's Muse. He is starting a hashtag 3D printing on YouTube. That's where we answer a couple questions. So let's get started.
All right, the first question is, what is the first thing you guys 3D printed?
Sure, so the first thing I 3D printed was actually a planter that I designed in Tinkercad. It was sort of my first steps into 3D modeling. And that went on to be a pretty interesting print. It took like 30 hours or something like that.
And it actually was in a book.
Oh, it got featured in a book, a 3D printing book, yeah, because it was sort of new back then. It was, what, 2012?
Yeah, so when we were first starting out, we didn't know like that we had to enclose the whole printer, so it was printed in ABS, and that actually gave characteristics to it that made it be put in the book.
That's right. It was like a little face tiki-looking planner, and it has all these little splits and stuff on the face, and it's like angry, and it's like it really added to the character, so that made it kind of cool.
Yeah, so my first 3D print, back then we were running our own agency, and we had just finished a video game for Tron, and the light bike model that I used in there, which you could also look at the tutorial on how to build that below. I wanted to print that out and see what it actually looked like physically, so my first model was a 3D print of a light Tron bicycle that we did for a video game.
Question number 2, a popular 3D printer that you don't like. One that I it's sort of popular and I don't like it too much. It's the Ember 3D printer from Autodesk. It's a really expensive printer. It's $6,000 to $7,000.
They just raised the price up actually.
That's right, to $7,500, I believe. But anyway, it has a really small build volume, and it's sort of nothing better than the Formlabs printer that has a really large build volume. So it's a little bit overpriced, though it's not to say that the printer is really bad. We do respect that they open source the hardware and the software. So that's really nice, but as far as it being a recommendation, probably wouldn't recommend it. There's a lot of better options out there, and we did have a review that you can check out and see sort of some of the nitty-gritty of dealing with SLA, DLP type printers. It's a little bit toxic.
Yeah, one of the things is that you can't just reach up and grab it. You have to have like this whole suit on, which you can see in the video.
Yep, there you go.
Next up is a popular 3D printer everyone seems to hate, but you love.
Yeah, do you want to answer that one?
I think probably the M3D.
The Micro from M3D. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people are having problems with like the hardware, I guess, with it, and it's working just fine on our end. We're using microprint on the Mac and Simplify 3D, and that seems to perform really good with those combinations. Seems that they're trying to have people use their own software, and that's probably a big mistake there.
Yeah, you can see in their forums too that there's quite a few people having hardware issues and things, but since then they've alleviated a lot of the problems. So if you pick one up now, you'll probably be in good shapes. Okay. Question number 4, what is your must-have 3D printing gadget?
For us, it's definitely gonna have to be a Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah, the Raspberry Pi with Octoprint makes it so that your printer is on the Wi-Fi network and you can access it through there. And Octoprint is just an amazing piece of software. It's open source, and there's just updates always happening. So
yeah, another thing is probably gonna be the Raspberry Pi camera, which you can also hook up to that and do time lapses, do monitoring from there.
Definitely a must-have. Question number 5, best free or low-cost 3D printing software?
We're gonna have to say Tinkercad, 123D Design, and Fusion 360 are all free options.
That's right, they're all from Autodesk. And then Mesh Mixer is another good one too. But I actually have a nice little playlist for you guys. If you are looking to get into 123D Design, I have a couple tutorials that I put together using 123D.
And as far as browser-based ones, Onshape is also
check out Onshape too. And the last question, number 6, best 3D printing tip.
I think the best 3D printing tip that we have is to look around your house and try to solve common problems that you might have.
That's right.
It's always like connector pieces or holders. Don't print out like statues and things like that.
It's like a calibration thing when you do the statues. It's nice. It gets a little stale, but you know, maybe an iPhone case or mobile phone case.
Something that you interact with every day.
Okay, so there you go. those are some questions. We want to throw out, tag somebody else to do this too, the hashtag 3D printing on YouTube. We want to tag James Bruton from X Robots.
And XYZ Aiden.
XYZ Aiden.
Soft Robotics.
And Bob from I Like to Make Stuff.
Yep, those are 3 really good channels you guys should check out.
Yeah, and we'll have them linked below. And we want to hear from you folks. You can answer them in the comments below, and we'll probably share them on the blog or on our 3D Hangout show that we have every Thursday. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. And until then,
keep on making.
Bye.
All right. I really like this segment because it's a hashtag that's on YouTube, so other people can look at what's going on. So that was one of the things when 3D printing first started out. There wasn't a YouTube really the same way it is now. So now, like, pound 3D printing on YouTube. So if you were to search for that, you can see all the things that people are doing. And generally speaking, they're doing it to show and share. Here's stuff I made. Initially, when 3D printing hit the scene, it was all about the 3D printer. Now I think we're finally at the point where people are showing.
It's no longer about like tweaking the extruder or like leveling the bed. Like we
getting it to work.
We got that kind of covered. So now it's tips and tricks. And I like this video because they got to showcase and show off older projects that like some of them I didn't even know about, like that first 3D print. Yeah. And it's actually kind of neat. It's like, oh, like how have your skills and desires evolved with the 3D printer? So I think it's cool. I like to see them answer people's questions. Ask more questions and we'll do another video maybe.
Good work, Noah and Pedro. Okay, don't forget tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, it is 3D Thursday Hangouts with Noah and Pedro. All right.
The longest running 3D printed show.
Yeah. Also, you know what's kind of neat is there's another set of brothers out there that are making 3D printed robots. It's On. That must be cool. That's like a band of siblings. It's like, let's go make something together. That's cool.
Yeah, I do not completely.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't really get that, but it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, because like you could go and maybe you get extra benefits of spending time with your family because you can work on your projects together.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
Yeah. All right, Pi Day. This week we have a very fun video, and it's from Tony DeCola. Here we go.
This is a fun project to run the Processing Creative Coding environment on the Raspberry Pi and Pi TFT display. Processing is an easy way to experiment with and learn about programming, and the latest 3.0 release can run on the Raspberry Pi. To use Processing on the Pi, download the latest Linux ARM v6 HF build of Processing 3.0. Then inside the Pi's graphical desktop environment, run the Processing executable. You can create sketches just like on your computer and they'll display on a monitor or television connected to the Pi. You can even set up a Pi TFT to display a processing sketch that you developed on your computer. With Processing's new full screen function, your sketch will automatically size itself to run on the small Pi TFT display. See the full guide linked in the description for all the details on using Processing with a Pi TFT. Another new feature in Processing is hardware control on the Raspberry Pi. You can control LEDs, read buttons, and talk to hardware connected to the Raspberry Pi. This is great for adding interesting new interactivity to your processing sketches. What will you...
Okay, big shout out to, we do hug reports at Adafruit instead of bug reports, so hug report to Tony DeCola. That's not only a fun video, but you shot it great, and like it's neat to have something right when it comes out. Like the processing stuff just came out.
Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you emailed me and you said, hey, I just saw that processing came out for the Pi. They have a new binary. Yeah. And you said, hey, let's suggest somebody in the creative engineering team to do a project. And I said, hey, Tony D, you know about processing and you've done a lot with the Pi. And I said, hey, can you just see if you can get it running on the Pi TFT? And we got this awesome video and a tutorial.
That move's nice, right? Put his finger over the screen and then it changed.
Yeah. I do want to warn that processing is not super fast on the Pi. It's not as fast as on a computer, but you can do interactive stuff with it. It does work, and it works great with the Pi TFT, so in full screen mode. Yeah. So a great way to make maybe combine it with one of the new products to make a little portable processing display.
Okay, before we go off to new products, speaking of, the code is Particle, and that's all the way to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. It is now time for new products. You ready? Code's Particle. All right. New products. Here we go. We're going to go through these.
New.
Okay, so first up, this is an SD card with
Jessie
on it.
This is the Raspbian Jessie 8 gig SD card. Raspbian Jessie is the latest stable release. It's because it's on the Pi 2 can finally basically run Jessie. It has enough stuff on it to be able to handle it. It's like the ARM core can do it. And Jessie is stable. It does have systemd, but in exchange, you get to use a huge amount of software that's available for Raspberry. And I know that there was a couple of like OpenGL things that were not, or OpenCV things that were not available. We get to compile them by hand for Wheezy, whereas for Jessie, they're a package because you get access to this entire package database. It does require an 8 gig card. You can no longer run Jessie on a 4 gig card. It's huge and also boots straight to desktop. But this is the future. We're still going to sell Wheezy cards, but the end game here is it's going to be all Jessie probably within the next 6 to 8 months.
Okay. All right. Next up, this is our.
This is a PiBo Pi TFT case from Pimoroni.
Yeah, it's our
for
yeah,
Pi.
it's our Pi TFT inside of a Pimoroni Pi case.
PiBo Pi case,
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi. This is showing our capacitive screen. If you have one of our Pi TFT pluses and you want to use it with a Pi 2 or Pi B plus, and they had a case before, but they didn't have the slots for the USB ports, and it didn't have the right layout and whatever for the Pi B plus or Pi 2. Well, this version does. So if you have a Pi 1, get the old version. If you have Pi 2, get this version. Works both with resistive and capacitive. Yeah, I'll just show it off. It's made out of multiple layers of blue acrylic. It's Adafruit blue. It's really sweet. And yeah, you can use the touch screen, and then the buttons are exposed here, so you can press the buttons for action. And there's these little 4 screws that act as little toppers. You get access to all the ports. It's just like a PiBo. And there's also a topper for the 3.5-inch display. So if you're using the 2.8-inch or the 3.5-inch, you just swap out whichever one.
Okay. And if you're subscribed to the Maker Business newsletter, you saw that we posted about Pimoroni is now selling a stake of the company on a site. So they're taking investment, and they also posted up some of their sales stats. So if you're a maker business, you're always curious about, wow, Pimoroni seems really popular. You can get
what's their
view.
profit margins? How many of each product do they sell, and which ones are they working on? What are their plans?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And if you can invest in them, if I was in England, I would probably try to invest. I'm not. Is it a British only or UK only site? But check it out for the pimoroni.com/invest also.
Okay.
For more details.
Well,
I'll just totally pitch them. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
All
right, now.
Yeah, so we have particle stuff going on. So this is the code, this is the night, this is the big announcement, adafruit.com/particle.
This is it.
We are shipping particles.
Particles.
So what is the particle, Lady Ada?
That's an excellent question, and I'm going to tell you over this rotating GIF of a particle without headers. So particle was previously known as Spark.io, and they've pivoted their name to Particle, and they made the Spark core, which is kind of an all-in-one STM32 processor plus, at the time, it was a CC3000 Wi-Fi module. This was when the CC3000 came out. It was the first like $10 Wi-Fi module. Up till then, it was always $25 per Wi-Fi module, and so they were able to finally make something for $40 that was a Wi-Fi, internet-connected, cloud-based microcontroller. You program it over the cloud. There's basically an IDE that you run in a web browser, and then it downloads itself over Wi-Fi to the Spark core, or the Particle core, as it's now called. And so that was pretty good, and that worked out kind of well. And then they probably had the same experience I had with the CC3000. It's a little creaky, and also it doesn't support SSL. And as everybody knows, security is very important on the internet. You want to make sure nobody can see what you're doing with Internet of Things. Nobody can hack your Internet of Things devices. And so they wanted to change platforms over to something that could support SSL, as well as have a lot more space and be faster and do N, 802.11n, and a lot of other stuff that comes with having a better Wi-Fi chip. And so the next generation of chip is the Broadcom Wicked chipset. And the little silver square in the middle there is basically a Broadcom Wicked chip. It's like the BCM 433628881 or something, which is a really powerful Wi-Fi chip that can do a lot. And they paired it with an STM32F3 processor, which is a Cortex M3 processor. It's all in that little silver box in the middle there, and it can basically, like I said, you can program it over the internet. It uses Arduino-like programming language. You deploy to it remotely. You can upload code anywhere in the world. It can do secure connections. It's very inexpensive. It's under $20. And that's basically what the Particle core, and then now the particle
Yeah, so we have a few flavors here.
photon.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
the photon is.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through these photos that we have here.
Right, so this is the particle photon. This is the one with the Wicked chipset. This is the new one. And we've got two versions. We've got one with header and without. You can see the one without, which also has castellated pads. You can solder onto a PCB, as well as the more popular one with headers. We also have a mini basic kit, which is here. It comes with a lovely sticker, a breadboard, the photon with headers, a micro USB cable, so you can get plugged in and programs powered easily. With 2 resistors, LED, and photocell, and this is it on the breadboard. And you can wire it up and basically make your own, connect it to something like Adafruit IO. So like, when the light changes, it can detect it, and then you can also turn on and off the LED remotely. It's a very good Internet of Things demo project. So it's really adorable. It's kind of like a little Arduino with Wi-Fi built in, breadboard friendly. But let's say you want to use Arduino shields. So not all Arduino libraries are ported, but many are. And if you have something that's Arduino shield shaped, you can use this shield, which I can show on the overhead because I kind of have a thing going on here. So this is the shield. I'll zoom in. And so yeah, this is the particle photon, and this plugs in so neatly over here. And it takes this compact small shape and it makes it into a big shape. So for example, you wanted to have data logging, you could connect our data logging with a real-time clock shield onto this, and then you would port the I2C and SPI code to support it. I think SD cards probably already supported, and most real-time clocks probably are as well. So you just have to put together the particle libraries to make this work, which just mechanically makes it fit. Also has level shifting and a power adapter. So that's one of the fine accessories for particle.
Okay. And we also have a few other things that go into the particle family. So all this is at adafruit.com/particle. And we also have the Maker Kit.
Yeah, the Maker Kit. So this is if you're like, okay, I really want to do everything. This is like $90, but it comes with a ton of stuff. You've got, we just laid it out, and like there's capacitors, there's resistors, there's diodes, there's buttons, there's buzzers, there's PIR cells, there's photocells, there's servos, there's an OLED, there's potentiometers, there's wires, there's header, there's a battery pack, there's multiple temperature sensors. Like, I'm probably even missing something. There's a vibrator buzzer, there's a relay, there's 2 switches. Anyways, it's kind of like everything, and it comes in a lovely little box, and you're pretty much ready to rock. And it's got everything you want to do to have an internet-connected project. Like for example, here's a demo. It shows a PIR sensor and an LED. So, and this is battery powered. So maybe detect when somebody walks into a room or walks past this. Connects to the internet, sends an email or updates a website. You can also use an LED to indicate something back. So it's very powerful. It is online only programming, so it's just something you have to watch for. Like it's not something you can kind of sort of maybe program it on a local computer, but it's not really designed for it. It's really designed for online compiling and deployment. For some people, that's great. You don't have to worry about installing any software. You just open up your web browser and you're ready to rock. It is very, very fast to program. It only takes about like 10, 20 seconds. It's much faster than you might imagine it would be over the internet. It's not like a modem. It's over Wi-Fi. It's quite fast. And it's very fun and easy. And it's a great way to get started. And I think it definitely will supports MQTT. You can use it with Adafruit IO or any other broker.
And then one last product that we're stocking and selling. This is the internet button.
Yeah, this is sort of like this fun accessory for the photon. We have our LED NeoPixel ring, but this is kind of an interactive all-in-one demo project. This fits into this tin here, and hold on. Let's take this out. So this internet button, it's kind of fascinating. Let me show on the overhead because it's a little confusing if you don't see it physically. So the photon plugs into here, and there's a nice little topper that goes in it. And this fits inside of a tin, or it doesn't even have to fit inside of a tin. It can fit inside of anything. And it clicks because there's these actuators on the bottom. And there's also a beeper, and there's also a ring of NeoPixels, which I can't get to because I have to take this out. But basically, there's a bunch of NeoPixels underneath here. So basically, it's a 4-directional button with also LEDs on the outside. So basically a demo if you want to show an interactive thing like DIY Nest, for example. You could click it to change your lights, left, right, up, down, maybe change music and have the lights indicate, oh, the music's high, or we're changing stations, or changing the temperature, or notifying. So it's kind of an all-in-one, like ready to go, pre-assembled, like you're ready to rock. Has some demos that goes with it. It's just more for people who don't want to do the breadboarding of the maker kit or the basic kit. They want to just kind of immediately get started with a project.
Okay, and then last up tonight, besides Particle, which is the star of the show, the other star of the show, besides you, is going to be the Ada Logger.
Ada Logger.
Yeah, it sounds like data logger because it's kind of like a data logger. It's the Ada Logger.
You get full credit for coming up with this name. This is a great name because we were thinking, what's a good name for it? The data logger, but it's more fun than just saying data logger. You said Ada Logger.
It's the Feather Ada Logger.
I was like, yes. So this is the Feather Ada Logger. So this is the second in our feather family. And for viewers of the show, you're going to get real used to talking about feathers because we got a lot more coming out. We're going to try to get out one a week. This version has an Atmega 32U4 in it, running at 8 megahertz at 3.3 volt logic. It has the same exact pinouts as the basic proto feather, but this one, instead of having a little prototyping area, it has a micro SD card, which makes it perfect for data logging or data retrieval. And it kind of fits perfectly onto a breadboard. And one of the cool things about Feather is not only is it pin compatible, but it has battery charging built in. You can also monitor the battery voltage. We also stuck an extra, we had a little bit more space, so we stuck an LED on it. Let me show it on the overhead. I can show and compare and contrast. So this is the Ada Logger. So this is the basic proto that we showed off last week. Zoom a little bit. And it has that same micro USB, JST for battery, Atmega 32U4 prototyping area. But for this version, we're like, okay, instead of prototyping area, let's stick on a green LED and a micro SD card. So you can basically use any SD or SDHC SD card, any size will work just fine. And then you can use the SD library on the Arduino IDE, for example, to talk to it. It uses the hardware SPI pins and a bunch of pins that aren't exposed. So you don't have to worry about any conflict with those. And you want to make it portable, just unplug the micro USB and it runs just fine off of a little LiPo battery. When you have the micro USB plugged in, it changes over and starts charging. But then when you unplug it, it automatically just switches over to LiPo without stopping. So it's kind of handy if you want to make projects portable. And then we're going to have more feathers, and then we're going to have a whole system of add-ons called wings that will plug it on top to add more capabilities. So for example, you could add a GPS wing onto this. Let me see if I can find that one. Yes, for example, let's say we'd have a GPS wing. You would plug this in on top using female headers, and then now you have a GPS data logger ready to rock. Or you could plug in a cellular module or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, all this stuff that will be coming out for the Feather family. So it's very exciting. I can't wait to show you more feathers, but that's the Feather of the Week.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to do a new segment. All right. Okay, and with that, that's new products. Good work.
I want to suggest Alon's name for the segment because he said boards of a feather flock together.
Boards of a feather.
Boards of a feather is pretty good.
Okay. We'll probably use boards of a feather.
Boards of a feather. All right, thanks, Alon. Good pun.
Yeah, so just a reminder, the code is Particle. That'll get you 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Standard Eastern, time.
Whatever it is in New York.
Clocks. Okay, so that'll get you a percent off. I have a top secret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just got one thing. That's kind of cool. Here it is. This is our packaging for Metro. We've been working on Metro for a really long time. The packaging finally is here. This is some of the graphics that we have that goes along with it. This is all aboard because it's kind of like a train.
Beep, beep.
And here it is on the overhead. This is Metro.
Yeah, this is our Metro casing. So we have a nice black box.
Yeah.
And it has our UPC code, CE, FCC RoHS, and then a description of what you get inside, assembled in the USA, because it's made here. And then inside we have a Metro. So we thought we wanted to experiment with making packaging. So this is kind of
the boards are beautiful, and we wanted to have a box that look really good. These will be at Micro Center and more other places that have retail. And this
is a Phil B. and Bruce Yan logo design.
Yeah.
Phil B. conceptualized it. Bruce did a little bit of touch up, but pretty much
it all worked out really well.
Paint Your Dragon, and then Bruce also worked on the packaging.
Yeah.
And then new products team worked on getting it. So this is our first like official product package, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's nice and rectangular.
And that was a top secret. So there we go.
Don't tell anybody.
Okay, so it's questions time. Go ahead and post up your questions. I have some lined up right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna start asking. We're gonna do speed rounds.
It's speedy.
Okay, first up, I purchased MP3 Shield from Adafruit to go with Arduino. Do I need to buy stackable headers to be able to attach the buttons and LEDs for a small mini little computer thingy I'm making for my first project?
Well, it's not a bad idea to go with stacking headers because you will regret it if you don't. But unless you need to be skinny, having the stacking headers just makes it a lot easier for you to connect stuff because you can just plug in wires. You can solder to the holes, but again, it's permanent. So I'd say, go for the stacking headers. Why not?
Okay. Will there be a Bluetooth wing?
Yes, probably.
Okay. And since I'm skipping around, what will the shield-like things be called for the feather?
They're going to be called feather wings.
Feather wings? Okay.
Because shield's taken.
Yeah.
So is cape.
Suggestion was there needs to be a subscription club, one new feather each week in the mail for a few weeks. We're actually working on
that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're working on a subscription service, so that might be it. If you make drones from the feathers, will they fly together? That's funny. Okay.
It would be good for a drone. It's very small.
Yeah,
lightweight.
and some people had some ideas and more that they're going to come up with for the ADA logger.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool.
Log it up.
All right. And then next up, what other wings are you working on?
Oh, well, it's not out yet, but I don't mind talking about them. We have an OLED wing. I have a motor driver wing, which we tested out. I've got a servo wing that can drive 8 servos. There's not enough space in there for more than that. We have a real-time clock wing. We have actually a little NeoPixel wing. So you can see like 3 NeoPixels by 8. And then this one I'm not so sure about. It's a little joypad wing with a joystick. The problem is the joystick is exactly the right size, so it's a little difficult to assemble. So I don't know if we're going to make that one. But that's a preview. But I have ideas for like 12 or 15 different little wings that you can stack on top of each other. And of course you can use stacking headers and put as many as you want.
Okay.
They almost all use I²C, so it's kind of...
All right. I'm going to try to pick one that is probably easier to answer because there's a couple that... We don't do stuff with 4K imaging, so that one...
No, we don't know about 4K.
So next up, how to send a small digital data to a microcontroller like Trinket from a computer or Arduino? So...
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a little tougher when you're using something like Trinket because it does have USB, but it's like raw HID USB. So actually what I would recommend is you can use a USB serial converter and then use software serial in the Trinket, or upgrade to something like the Feather, which has built-in USB serial, and it's like really easy. It's not that much more expensive. It's a little bit bigger, but it's like foolproof.
Yeah. Okay. And that'll be the questions for tonight. That's a bunch. Someone know what PCB manufacturer we use. We use Advanced Circuits. That's one of the ones.
We suggest Advanced Circuits in Colorado. They're awesome.
Yeah.
And there's a starter special and a student special. So when you go there, check it out. 4pcb.com.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That is it for the night. Thank you so much, everyone. That is the show for the evening. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go over the code one last time. Code's particle, and that's 10% off all the way up to 11:59 Eastern time. Mm-hmm. And that's that. Trivia question time. What are the rules for the trivia question?
Rules are: if you've won something before, you can't win again. Only one winner for our lifetime. The prize is going to be a logger or a photon.
I think the ADA logger.
I'll give away an ADA logger.
Yeah.
Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll just toss in a photon too.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's particle. Let's do both.
So this is the big deal.
This is a big deal. You're
gonna get an ADA logger and a photon.
And a photon, a particle photon,
right.
and a logger. It's just one of those days. 2 for 1.
Okay.
So make it worth it.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
And don't forget, only enter if I've never won before.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If you watch the show, we usually try to do a trivia question that's kind of close to something from our time travel series. So, who is considered the world's first female engineer? And this was on our time travel site. So if you just go to, or section, if you just go to adafruit.com/blog and check it out. I'm going to be looking in Twitch. So in Twitch, I'm going to be looking there first anyways. So if you're watching Twitch, just go to adafruit.com/blog, type time travel. Yeah, wow, this is pretty good. So I'm accepting Alice Perry because there was debate about this.
Okay.
So good week, TL weeks at gmail.com. Your email address is your screen. You won. So
I think that counts. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Because
that's fine.
There's debate.
Yeah,
about
there's
it.
debate about it. So just getting back to the time travel question here, we'll pop over. Congratulations. Email support at adafruit.com. tiweek@gmail.com. This is a little confusing because don't email yourself. Email support at adafruit.com. Anyways, Elisa is probably one of the first, and I was also okay with Alice Perry because back in the day they didn't
Apparently
have.
she was the first.
Yeah, so either one of us would have been okay. And thank you for watching on Twitch. So our Twitch.
Yeah, we're on Periscope.
Yeah.
YouTube Live.
Ustream.
Ustream.
Yeah, and Twitch.
And Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any more devices to do. So email support at adafruit.com and they'll send it out to you. And just tell them that you won the
Adalogger
particle
and the
Adalogger.
photon.
And if they have any questions, just tell them to ask Phil.
Ask Phil.
Okay.
That's it.
All
That's
right.
the show.
Oh, hey, Bill from Twitch TV. Yeah, I will totally email you. We really like Twitch. We want to do a bunch of stuff with Twitch. This is exactly why we're doing this. All right, thanks, Bill. Okay.
That's cool. You must have been an early employee to get Bill at Twitch TV. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
there's like
that's
1,500 bills now.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
We'll send you a note. We really like Twitch. You want to do some more
We're
stuff.
so happy that Twitch is now doing more creative content.
Yeah. Rad. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. Tomorrow we'll be periscoping. You're doing an event, the Riley Next Economy Conference. So if you guys want to check that out, you can see behind the scenes. As always, don't forget the code for this evening is Particle. We are 100% sponsored by you, the community and customers out there. We don't take ads. We don't take sponsorship. We have no venture funding. We don't have any loans.
No sharks.
Couple companies are trying to buy us. We don't really have any desire to do that. So just keep purchasing kits and trinkets, literally, and metros and particles and all sorts of other fundamental forces of nature, and we'll keep doing this. We'll see everybody next week. Here's a picture of a cat, and here is your moment of Zener. See you next week.
Later.